Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are tackling another intriguing graph problem. Leetcode 261, graph valid tree. We are down to the final few problems in the blind 75 series. And since this is a premium one, you can solve it for free on Leetcode if you don't have a subscription. In this problem, we are given n nodes labeled from 0 to n minus 1 and a list of undirected edges. Each edge connects two nodes. Our task is to determine if these nodes and edges form a valid tree structure. But what is a valid tree in graph theory? Essentially, a tree is a connected acyclic graph. Let's break that down. First, connected. This means that starting from any node, you can reach every other node in the graph. There are no isolated parts or separate components. Second, acyclic. This means there are no cycles in the graph. You can't start at a node, traverse some edges, and return to the same node without backtracking. Another key property of a tree that we get as a result of these two properties is that a tree with n nodes must have exactly n minus 1 edges. If it has fewer edges, it can't be connected. If it has more edges, it must contain a cycle, assuming it's connected. Let's look at an example. Suppose n equals 5. So we have nodes 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and we have the following edges which are exactly n minus 1 or 4. But we should still check how the graph actually looks. So let's quickly draw them. We have edges connecting nodes 0 to 1, 0 to 2, 0 to 3 and finally 1 to 4. Now we check, is the graph connected? Yes. And is it acyclic? The answer is again yes. So for this example, the answer would be true. Now consider another example again with number of nodes n equal to 5 and following edges connecting nodes 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 1 to 3 and 1 to 4. Here we can see that number of edges is 5, but it should have been n minus 1, that is 4. So we can return false immediately as there are too many edges indicating cycles in the graph, which we can also see visually. So we return false. Now how should we approach this? Like we discussed during the problem walkthrough, for any graph to be a valid tree, there is a golden rule for the number of edges. If we have n nodes, we must have exactly n minus 1 edges. If this condition isn't met, we can stop right away and return false. Think about it this way. If E is less than n minus 1, we simply don't have enough bridge edges to connect all the islands. At least one node or group of nodes will be left isolated. If E is greater than n minus 1, we have too many edges. In a connected graph, every extra edge beyond n minus 1 is guaranteed to create a loop or a cycle. In our example, n is 5 and we have 4 edges. Since 4 equals 5 minus 1, we pass this first test. But is that enough? Not quite. Consider this graph. Even if the edge count is perfect, the graph could still be broken. We could have a cycle in one part of the graph and an isolated node in another. So, to be 100% sure, we still need to apply the tree definition, which is that for the graph to be a tree, it must be connected and be acyclic. How do we actually check for connectivity? Well, we can traverse the graph using traversal algorithms like breadth first search (BFS) or depth first search (DFS). Both work perfectly here, but for this explanation, let's stick with depth first search. In depth first search, we use a visited set to mark the nodes we have explored during the traversal. If the number of nodes we have visited, for example 5 here, matches the total number of nodes given to us, then we can be sure that the graph is connected. Now, let's see how we can find cycles. Again, using the visited set. If we revisit a node during the traversal, that means we have encountered a cycle, so we return false immediately. But if we don't encounter a cycle, that means the graph is acyclic. So if both the conditions in the definition match, then we can return true, otherwise false. And hence, after checking if E is n-1, our next step is to build the adjacency list so we can navigate the graph efficiently. For the adjacency list, node 0 connects to 1, 2 and 3. Node 1 connects to 0 and 4. Node 2 connects to 0. Node 3 connects to 0. And finally, node 4 connects to 1. Now we start the depth first search. Say from node 0, we mark it as visited and process its neighbors 1, 2 and 3. Say we go to neighbor 1 first and mark it as visited. It has two neighbors 0 and 4. But if we go to node 0, it is already in the visited state, which would give us a false alarm that we have encountered a cycle. Visually, we know that's not true. We just came from there. To address this, we pass the parent node, or we can also call it the previous node in our DFS. So for the call to node 1, the parent is 0. When we see neighbor 0 is the parent, we ignore it and move to the next neighbor 4. And now node 1 will be the parent or previous node. Also, since we are now passing a parent for node 0 where the DFS started, we can pass the parent as some dummy value like -1. Continuing with the DFS, we mark 4 as visited. Its neighbor is 1, which is also its parent, so we ignore it. Now, since we processed all the nodes along this trail and couldn't find any cycle, we return true from here. But we still have to explore the rest of the tree. So we backtrack to node 0 and go to its next neighbor, node 2, with parent 0. We mark 2 visited. Its neighbor is 0, the parent, so we ignore it. And since no cycle is found, we return true from here as well and proceed to the next neighbor of node 0, which is node 3 with parent 0. We mark 3 visited. Its neighbor is 0, the parent, so we ignore it and we return true from this path. Now, throughout the entire traversal, we couldn't find any cycle and all the paths returned true, so we return true. So far, we checked for cycles and next we check for connectivity. The size of our visited set is 5, which matches n. So both conditions pass, telling us that this graph is indeed a tree and hence we return true. Now let's look at one more example, this time with a graph that has a cycle where we also have an edge from node 0 to node 4. Again, first we check for edge count. N is 5 and the number of edges E is also 5. Since E is not equal to n minus 1, we immediately know that the answer here is false. But for the sake of understanding, let's see how DFS would find the cycle. And before running DFS, we add node 4 to the neighbors of node 0 and 0 back to node 4's list. Now we start depth first search again, say from node 0 with parent -1. We mark node 0 visited and go to its neighbors, say to node 1 first with node 0 as the parent. We mark node 1 as visited and process its neighbors. Its neighbor 0 is the parent, so we ignore it and go to neighbor 4 with parent 1 and mark node 4 as visited. And then we process its neighbors. Its neighbor 1 is parent, so we ignore it and go to its next neighbor, neighbor 0. But wait, node 0 is already in the visited set and it's not the parent, so we have detected a cycle and hence we return false. Since depth first search returned false, we know the graph is not a tree. The time complexity of this approach is O of V plus E. Building the adjacency list takes O of V plus E since we initialize V nodes and then iterate through E edges. Then we run DFS traversal that also takes O of V plus E as we visit every node once and check all its neighbors. So overall time complexity is O of V plus E and the space complexity is also O of V plus E. We need this space to store the graph in our adjacency list plus O of V for the visited set and the recursion stack in the worst case. So overall space complexity is O of V plus E. Alright, let's dive into the code. We'll have the Java implementation on the left and Python on the right for an easy side-by-side comparison. First, inside our main valid tree function, we implement our initial checks. We handle the empty graph case first. If n is 0, it's considered a valid tree as it is connected and has no cycle, so we return true. Then we perform our quick edge count check, where for n nodes, we must have exactly n minus 1 edges. If this check fails, we return false immediately. Next, we build our adjacency list. We initialize an empty list for each of the n nodes. Then, for each edge in the graph, we connect the vertices from U to V and V to U, as the graph is an undirected one. Next, let's initialize a visited set to keep track of all the nodes we visited during our DFS traversal. Now we kick off the DFS helper function, starting from node 0 as the current node and minus 1 as its dummy parent. If the DFS returns false, we return false as well, as we would have found the cycle. Otherwise, if the DFS returns true, we check the number of nodes in visited set. If it is n, we return true, otherwise we return false. Now, let's dive into the DFS helper function itself. This function takes the adjacency list, the current node, its parent node in the traversal path, and the visited set. The very first thing we do is add the current node to our visited set. Then we iterate through each neighbor of the current node, and for each neighbor there are 3 main steps. First, if the neighbor is the same as the parent node we just came from, we simply continue. We don't want to treat the edge we just used to arrive at the current node as a cycle. Second, if the neighbor is already in our visited set and it's not our parent, then we found a node we've already visited through a different path. This clearly indicates a cycle, so we immediately return false from the function. Third, if the neighbor is not in our visited set, it means we haven't explored this path yet. So we visit it by making a recursive DFS call on this neighbor, passing the current node as its parent. If this recursive call returns false, meaning a cycle was detected deeper in the graph, which we propagate that false all the way up. If the loop finishes without finding any cycles, the DFS function returns true. So that's all for this video. I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might benefit from it. If you haven't subscribed the channel yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss an update. Your support helps me create more content like this. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.